Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Professional's Pulse. I'm Farida Musaddi, the co founder and CEO of Alphateh Technologies Dubai, as well as a partner in Cruisia Travel and Events. Well, today we are turning our focus to a subject that's on everybody's mind: the future of investing. 2025 is already proving to be a year of transformation in global finance, from the rise of emerging markets and disruptive technologies to shifting geopolitical landscapes and growing importance of sustainable investing. The big question is, where is the smart money headed next? To help us decode these trends, we have with us today Ms. Shagun Madan. Together, we'll be uncovering the opportunities, the challenges, and the shifts that could define the next chapter of our investment world. So, first of all, Ms. Shagun, welcome to the Professionals Pulse. And it's so great to have you here with us today. On this auspicious occasion of just Janmashtami. Wish you a very happy Janmashtami, and thank you so much for being there with us on the Professionals Buzz today.
Thank you so much, Farida, and I'm really thankful that you've invited me. Happy Janmashtami to everyone. And I must say, Farida, it's a very nice initiative to arrange such talks. It's really helpful for everyone. So thank you. And
Thank you
yes,
so much. So, for everyone, Ms. Shagun Madan, she's a seasoned business leader. She's a philanthropist, a social entrepreneur, as well as an investment banker. With decades of extensive experience in diversified sectors in India, Australia, as well as in the UAE. She is a founder of Indel Global Inc. and a founder trustee of Promise India Foundation, which is an NGO for the underprivileged children. An IIM Indore alumni, fellow member of ICSI, and Bachelor in Law and Commerce. She has served the government of Australia with the Australian Tax Office, and she's also worked in the Risk and Compliance Department of one of Australia's largest banks, ANZ Bank, headquartered in Melbourne. She is also an ex group chief compliance officer and legal head of Capital Infra Trust, which is also a public listed invite. Her professional journey embraces significant contribution in consulting as well as spearheading initiatives which are focused on advisory, advocacy, and thought leadership. With a keen focus on corporate governance and strategic vision, she consistently adds value to organizations across diversified industries. The synthesis of legal expertise, regulatory adroitness, business acumen, investment banking, proficiency, and passion for mentorship defines her professional journey. She spearheaded key initiatives in varied verticals like private equity, M&A, JVs, banking, financial services, and much more. Her expertise includes startup advisory, IPO, as well as fundraising. Once again, welcome to the Professionals Pulse.
thank you so much, Farida, for such a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Well, you deserve it all the more.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so, to begin with, the topic today, I think, is on the minds of many people out here who are listening to us because investment is something which the trends are changing with a lot of things, with digitization and many things which are coming up. In fact, recently we also had the Alaska meeting, which also got some new perspectives in mind that we're going to talk about. So, keeping all this in mind, what are the top three global investment trends that you predict will dominate the 2025-2026 year, and why do you think so?
Well, Farida, I was just before this podcast, I was listening to that and watching the Alaska summit. So, this Alaska summit ended in a diplomatic stalemate.
Okay.
Trump grasped an optic and hopeful statements. He, you know, but Putin emerged as his emerged with this as a global leader enhanced with no compromise. The meeting may serve as a starting point for future discussion, but for now, it's a symbolic win for Putin and, of course, a missed opportunity for some people. For me, I was just listening. So the key key takeaways for from this Alaska meeting is that Putin gained legitimacy. It was the first US visit in nearly a decade. No concession, but he got a red carpet treatment. Trump gained headlines but little substance. More
Okay.
optics than outcome. And Ukraine remains in limbo. War continues with no breakthrough. So, at the outcome of this meeting is a diplomatic, stalements. Nothing, no outcome. As far as when we are coming to your, the question which we and the topic what we have today is the global investments. So, you know what? As we approach the end of the year, various headwinds intersects economies and market. The global economy is growing at a good pace.
Hmm.
Inflation has cooled, but geopolitical risks haven't gone away. In fact, they have gotten worse. Um, as we know, that conflict in Middle East and Ukraine continues, and US itself is dealing with the result of its contentious election. Yet, despite all these odds, market produced a strong gain over 2024. There is
Okay.
a report, as per the report published by the World Economic Outlook, global trade expanded by an estimated $300 billion in the first half of 25, which is a big amount, whereas global trade is projected at 3%. So, looking at the current scenario, to me, the best global sector to invest in 2025-26 looks remarkably different from previous years. While tech giants and financial services once dominated investment conversation, a new wave of opportunity is emerging across healthcare technology, renewable energies, artificial intelligence, and yes, not to miss the one which is a space exploration. These
Okay.
sectors show promising growth potentials driven by technological advancements and
Hmm.
increasing market demand. There are
Okay.
strong data findings and thorough analysis supporting the reasons behind their dominance in the market. You know,
Okay.
as per the data, I'm sorry, I am a very figgy person. I love putting figures because that's what my domain is. Right.
Absolutely.
So because one anything can you can validate if you have got strong figures to support them. So
Absolutely.
by 2030, there is a data which shows that global AI market is projected to grow from current $300 billion to more than 1 trillion, which is a big amount. AI
Absolutely.
is shifting from early adoption to enterprise integration. It's no longer a tech story, but a business productivity revolution. From generative AI in content creation to AI driven drug discovery and robotic in manufacturing, AI adoption is accelerating across industries. Even the government of many countries, they are heavily funding AI research and infrastructure. So if we talk about renewable energies, there is a strong global push to meet the net zero target by 2050. Carbon taxes and ESG reportings are becoming mandatory in many regions. For the
Okay.
healthcare also, we have an aging populations which are high in demand for advanced healthcare solutions. Digital
True.
health platform, telemedicines, AI diagnostic, they're expanding into emerging market like anything. So we cannot ignore the fact that this healthcare, renewable and AI, they are going to dominate the 25-26 market.
Correct. So as AI is entering all the different industries, even in investment, we think those,
Yes,
uh, yeah, the investment trend is again supporting AI, because I think
absolutely.
it's increasing leaps and bounds. Every day you have new things coming up, new technologies emerging.
Absolutely. Business and governments are rapidly integrating AI into everything from manufacturing to logistic to education to healthcare. Everywhere there is an AI.
True, true. And we still consider it to be at its nascent stage. It'll still grow. So there's a lot
Yes,
of potential, as you mentioned.
yes, 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 yes. We are actually, we have way to go.
Absolutely. True, true, true. Okay. And even in healthcare, as you said, the integration with AI. That is one of the
Yes,
dominant industries that one can look at.
as there was a data I was reading that by 2030,
Hmm.
the aged population of 65 plus, they will cross 1 billion. So we will be having aged people, you know
Okay,
crossing 1 billion. So we will be requiring specific, customized medicines, and the AI has to integrate to healthcare to cope up with the situation.
true, true. That's completely. I completely agree with this. In fact, even IoT, sensor-based technologies, so all these things would be emerging,
Definitely.
to support all these healthcare problems.
Definitely, everything has to come together to support this trend.
True, true. So, as we mentioned, the industries that you said, that these would be the industries that will definitely be something. Are there any such kind of sustainable industries that you feel have always been, very lucrative in terms of investment and which will carry on? Of course, AI is something that has come right now, but anything that has been sustainable over the years? How about the education industry or something like that?
Education industry is always, it will always continue to expand, because
Hmm.
when you talk about education, there are a lot and lot to be added to it. There, AI of course is integrating into education as well. So of course I
True.
feel that AI education is definitely going to have its own place in the coming future.
Okay. And how are the, considering the situations, and you were just mentioning the geopolitical tensions? For example, we also have the US China rivalry, or the instability even in Europe, and a lot of things, the wars which are happening. How is that impacting the cross border investments?
Farida, as we were talking about the Alaska summit, it is one of the main reason also for this impact. It's a very relevant question in today's scenario, and personally, I'm very connected to it because I keep on reading all these stuff. I personally believe that in last 5 years, the last 5 years have presented a sequence of not only the policy shock but some natural shock to the global trade, testing the resilience of trade supplies and the agility of trading partners. Starting from escalation to US China trade war, which started in 2019, the tariff war between the two countries, they created an uncertain trade environment, which was followed by, natural shocks like multiple waves of COVID, which led to
Okay.
serious disruptions in the supply chain of goods around the world. Now, before the trading volume could fully recover from the pandemic shock, Russia-Ukraine conflict emerged in 2022. The sanction imposed on Russia by European unions disrupted the well-established global supply chain for oil and gas in the World Trade Order. And then finally, the disruption of Suez Canal in 23 spelled a logistic nightmare of trade across, Europe and Asia Pacific. So all these have prompted countries to search for alternate trading partners, leading to a
Correct.
changing landscape in global trade. These
Hmm.
geopolitical tensions, they are creating a complex landscape. Is it me or
Sorry.
yours? Okay.
No, no, that's myself.
Fair. No, no, it's okay. So I was saying that these geopolitical tensions, they are creating a complex landscape for cross-border investments. They presents both risk and opportunities. If we look at the risk side, the heightened trade barriers, export controls and sanctions. They're increasing the compliance cost and supply chain disruption, prompting the investors to reassess exposure to sensitive regions.
Okay.
However, the same dynamics are driving opportunities in alternative markets and industries. Companies are diversifying supply chains towards South Asia, India, and Latin America, creating new investment avenues. So
Correct.
basically, when we talk about that, in the your changing your starting statement was where the money is moving. So basically, geopolitical tensions and changing how and where money moves between countries. So
Correct.
money is moving to a safe place.
Yes.
Investors are avoiding risk countries. They're putting money into more stable ones. For example,
True.
instead of China, money is going to Mexico, Vietnam, India.
Hmm.
Then we have factories moving closer to home or friendly countries. Why? To avoid problems if the border closes. Then we
Correct.
have some, the impact of cross-border investments for this geopolitical tension is some industries are winners. For example, defense,
Correct.
energy security. So they are getting more and more investments. So we cannot ignore the fact that yes, because of this geopolitical tensions, there is a strong impact on the cross-border investment. Some countries are gaining investments like India, Vietnam, Mexico, Indonesia, they and UAE, of course, Saudi Arabia and UAE. They are in the gaining stage. However, there are countries like China, Russia, Turkey. They are um, losing the investments, but
Correct.
still there are European countries where they are neutral. They don't have effect like Brazil, Germany, then we have France. So of course it has an impact overall globally, and we don't know, we're not sure when will this impact neutralize, but yes, looking forward for some better news in the future.
So you can say that all this is actually also benefiting the third world countries.
Yes, the emerging markets.
Correct. And what about, up till now, we've always had US or, as you mentioned, Europe to be dominant areas where most of the investment inflows, go. But nowadays, even UK for that matter, London. So, do you think that now people or investors are feeling uh, the risk, and those countries which were, of course, which were dominating the scenario, there can be a situation maybe in the future where there will be a complete shift? Right now, of course, as you mentioned, it has started, but do you think that there will be a possibility, or no, they will still remain strong in the league?
Look, I will not say that there will be a complete shift because we don't know what the future stands for. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, of course, as I told you, that there are countries which are losing investment. For example, China. For the U.S. restrictions on tech investment, companies shifting their supply chain away from China. For example, Russia, there were sanctions, and for the because of the war, many Western investors have shut down their businesses from Russia. So
Okay.
yes, of course. But on the other hand, the developing countries or the emerging markets, like for example, Vietnam, it's a low cost company. It has stable politics, and it has good ties with European unions and US. Uh, or you can say Mexico. It's very close to
Mm-hmm.
the US market. It's
Correct.
benefiting its countries from, it's companies are getting out from China and moving to Mexico. Or we can say India. It sees as a safe alternative to China for manufacturing and tech. So
True.
yes, we are looking at a shift, but I will not be able to comment whether it's going to be a complete shift or
Maybe a
we
phased.
yes, it's going to be it's in phase, but let's see
Correct.
how we are going to sit in the future.
True. We have a question from one of our viewers who says, may I request to please share your views on most important segments for MSMEs getting positioned for global investment? As I represent our investment board, we feel the sector will be more adaptable to new tech.
I would request Farida will take the question answers at the last, please.
Sure, no
That would be
problem.
very,
We'll do
yeah.
that. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, moving ahead, what role do you think that emerging markets, which we just discussed, like India, UAE, or Africa, will be playing in shaping the 2025 investment landscape? Which industries do you think are these current countries focusing on? We just mentioned at the beginning that these are the new areas or segments. So are these countries also channelizing or focusing on these sectors, or there any new sectors which we have these countries focusing on? Because considering, for example, even in India, there is a lot of potential for agriculture and agri-tech. So what industries are these new countries supporting where the investments are now flowing in?
You know, basically, if we talk about this current scenario, the geopolitical risk and all, industry is driven by technology, sustainability, and global security needs. I do understand the agriculture aspect, but I think I'm going to focus today on the artificial intelligence, because, and of course, the defense, which is also outshining in the global tensions and shifting alliances. So there
True.
are countries which are focusing. There are many nations, or the even the new countries also. They're increasing their military budgets, leading to opportunities in advanced weapon systems, drone missiles. Everywhere you'll see that the budget, defense budget, they're putting more pressure on the defense budget. Of course, artificial intelligence, as I told you, already told that it's going to stand out performer. It's a standout performer. Businesses and governments are rapidly integrating AI into everything from manufacturing and logistics, from education to healthcare. So of course, countries are focusing on these sectors only, and renewable as well.
True.
Renewable energies, you cannot just ignore the fact that it will expand as a climate change policy, as and ESG investment mandates pushes countries and the corporations towards cleaner power. We have solar, wind, battery storage, green
Yes. Yes.
hydrogen. They are accelerating, supported by government subsidies and improved technologies. Government are supporting it in a very high level. So yeah,
True.
there are sectors I believe countries are focusing on these sectors. Of course, healthcare, biotech, space tech, they cannot be overlooked.
True. True. Because I remember, I was also uh, I earlier had a podcast with one of the persons from Africa,
Yeah.
and I
It's
think
more into,
Africa.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So
Sorry.
Africa again, I think, is a very much it has a lot of potential, because there's a lot of unexplored territory out there, even in
Yes.
terms of technology. There are a lot many
Agricultural
things.
technology. We have critical minerals over there. And
True.
the population, some part of Africa, the population is young.
Correct.
So, yes, of course, there's so much of potential. It's a high potential frontier market, Africa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Completely. Um, Going ahead, how are the investment strategies changing for HNIs? Okay, because I think nowadays we have some this very popular trend of family offices
Yes.
which manage the high net worth individuals. They have their own gatherings, and then they have their pool of investments. Then we have institutional investors. So what are the strategies that this particular group looks out for in the evolving markets?
Farida, yeah, we can see a notable transformation in the investment strategies for HNIs, family businesses, and investors, institutional investors. They are becoming more cautious. They're becoming more diversified. They are more, global opportunity focused.
Correct.
All, as I, as I am just, emphasizing, all due to global tensions. It's a high. Today's scenario is completely different. There is
Correct.
a rapid tech change. The capital flow is shifting from safe country, from unstable countries to safe places. So HNI, looking at the current, all this, HNIs are increasingly favoring diversified theme based portfolios with allocation to alternative assets such as private equity, venture capital, and digital assets, seeking both capital growth and hedging against inflation. They are
Correct.
diversifying into tangible assets like
Hmm. Yes.
arts, collectibles, and luxury estates.
Correct.
And
Yes.
also, not to skip that, there is they're using most of the family trust for tax efficiency and legal planning. However, family offices, when we talk about family offices, they are focusing more on direct investments, co-investments,
Mhm.
co-investment opportunities, and sustainable investing. They are building multi-assets portfolios with a mix of uh, public equities, private markets, and alternatives. They are, in fact, these family offices. I wanted to mention that they are increasing their allocation to impact investing, that is, project with social or environmental benefits alongside profits. They're
Okay.
hedging their um, this geopolitical risk by spreading investments across continents.
Mhm.
But institutional investors have a different picture altogether. They are rebalancing towards resilient assets such as infrastructure, green bond, and defensive equities. You know,
Okay.
in a nutshell, if we can, just summarize it, I would personally say that HNIs are chasing exclusive growth opportunities, but they're
Mhm.
protecting wealth with tangible assets, whereas
Correct.
family offices are blending growth and legacy planning with a bigger impact.
Okay. All right.
Institutional investors are, they are leaning into long-term stability via infrastructure and active management. So yes, I can say that yes, these three kind of investors, they have a focus, but yes, of course, ultimately they have to hedge themselves, against this geopolitical risk and the inflation risk, of course.
Okay. Just one question that comes to my mind, that for people who are looking out for such high valued investments, let's say, so uh, is there anywhere, for example, cross border investments, since you have also been uh, in involved with different countries, so are there such opportunities for people looking out for such high scale investments, as to how they would approach, or uh, what would be the right channel that they can go to? I'm talking about high valued investments, not
Definitely.
maybe a company investment, but
No, I
as you say,
understand.
defense or high valued.
Farida, yes, of course, yeah, I understand. Farida, there are lots and lots of organized channels where high values, and of course they've been approached by, so these high value clients and peoples have been themselves approached by the organized groups of organized channels. So there are different organizations, companies who look after all this. They are regulated channels.
Absolutely, yes. That's important because in
Yes.
today's world, everything is so uh, this, you can't just go out there, and trust
No, no,
is
no.
again a very, very
No, no,
important
SEBI.
factor.
No, no, no. If we talk about India, of course, I know the regulatory compliances are also very strict in
Correct.
UAE, but SEBI is really, really very, uh, SEBI is looking out very minutely about all these things. That even giving in advice, you really have to be a registered one. So I'm also giving a
Okay.
disclaimer that I'm not here on this platform to give any advice to any of the clients. I do have certain stocks which but I am not here on this channel to advise.
Absolutely. True, true, true.
Yes.
So, coming to our last question for the day, if you were to advise, a startup or a retail investor in 2025, what would be your golden rule for investing smart in the current climate? And I think that would also answer the question that
Yes.
the viewer has. It
Yes,
encompasses
yes, yes.
the same thing.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. That's why I said that because we have a limited time and I have another meeting. So sorry, but yeah, that's why I said we'll be taking any questions at the end. I'll give you my email address. Anybody wants to have any kind of explanation or anything on that, I would be happy to answer them. But coming to your, as I told you, I put a disclaimer that I'm not here to advise anyone, but on a journal, I'll say for startups, validate your market fast, keep costs lean, and have multiple funding options. If you're a retail investors, I would say that anchor in diversified long-term assets, then allocate your small portion to high growth earning opportunities. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you say, as you have asked about the golden rule for investing in 25, whether you are a startup or retail investors or generally, I mean, a budding investor, I would just simply say that stay adaptive, stay diversified, and stay liquid. You know, the market is moving fast due to tech disruptions, AI,
Correct.
climate shifts, and geopolitical tensions. What worked today might not work next year. So keep revisiting your strategies. In
Mm-hmm.
simple word, I would say that don't marry your investments, just date them. Be willing
Correct.
to change when the world changes. Yeah, that's
Correct.
what my last word would be.
Absolutely. And I think that is a very good advice that you said,
Yes,
that please don't marry, because everything is so dynamic, things are just
absolutely.
changing frequently. So you never know what's going. And as we mentioned and as we discussed right at the beginning, AI is changing every day. So you
Don't
cannot.
know what's going to happen in the evening. So what
Absolutely.
we yeah, so what we decide today might change in an hour or so. So you
Correct.
you have to keep a pace on it.
Correct.
Keep yourself updated. Keep revisiting your strategies, even if you do it in a journal lifestyle also. So we
Correct.
have to revisit or re strategize every week our plan. So that is
Correct.
how the investment strategies should be shaped in 25-26.
Correct. And as you mentioned, of course, certain industries like the tech industry, healthcare, these are what are the current trends that one can look out for
Definitely,
growth,
definitely.
yes, in the near
Yes,
future.
definitely.
So thank you so much. And as
Yes.
you mentioned, if anybody has any questions, they can definitely reach out to you via
Yeah,
email or via LinkedIn.
I have a LinkedIn profile. I would love to have messages on that, and
Sure.
definitely I'm going to answer each and every one of you.
That's
And
so wonderful of you.
pleasure. Thank you so
And
much. Yeah.
yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Thank you so much for joining us
No,
today.
really nice connecting with you. It is such a great initiative to organize such talks, even if it helps us to update ourselves.
True.
So yeah, thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best for your this venture. And of course, you have many more ventures. I'll be visiting UAE soon, so we'll catch up for a coffee soon.
Definitely. I'll look forward to that.
Thank you so
And
much to everyone.
for everyone signing off, that brings us to the end of this insightful session on decoding the 2025 global trends. If there's one takeaway that we have from today's discussion that we have with Ms. Shagun, is that it's the investment landscape is evolving. It's very much dynamic. So it's you have to stay well informed. You have to be adaptable. You have to be strategic if you have to thrive. So thank you everyone once again for tuning in to the Professionals Pulse, and I'll see you all in the next episode.
Thank you so much, Farida,
Have
and
a nice
happy
weekend.
Janmashtami, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye. Take care.